Hey there. Okay, we just finished up the live version. We have like over 500 people there. It was great, but I personally hate listening to replays because you can't see the chat and it's just not the same. So I'm just going to cut this for you as succinctly as possible and we're going to just go from there. Okay, so you are future-proofing your career as a grant writer by building AI skills in 2025 so we're not left behind professionally. And I think the biggest thing I want to emphasize so we're not leading with fear is it's just a lot more fun. So if you're a nonprofit grant writer or you're a consultant, whether you've tinkered with AI or you're already using it daily in your workflow and do not want to fall behind professionally, then you're in the right place. So we're going to be covering how to go pro using AI in 5 weeks and the 4 skills you've got to learn this year. Plus, you'll meet your new AI besties. Okay, so just some background context. I went to this mastermind at Dan Martell's house and I met Chris. Chris was talking about how he was using AI to help a local Canadian grant writer write grants. And I was like, hold the phone. Are you for real? Like, this is crazy. So I gave him a copy of my book, and within a month, we were collaborating, building Unicorn Copilot. It was our own private in-house software using AI to help with the grant writing workflow. We focused on finding clients, project planning, and the funding strategy process, and then the grant writing part was going to be phase 2. So this was what Unicorn Copilot looked like. It was our very own software. And at the same time as that was being built, Chris and his team over at Beta were using AI to write grant applications and really ramping up. So they had a win rate of 72%. They got to the point where they were writing 40 complex grant applications with just 2 grant writers a month. They took 100+ hour applications down to 4 hours, which I still can like hardly comprehend. And they made straight up $750,000 in their first year with no prior experience in grant writing, maintaining a, get this, 70% profit on average per grant when the industry is typically lucky to have 20%. So obviously I was like, Chris, come talk to my people. So we had our basically 5% club. It's our mastermind, the people making 100K or more per year, gather in Oregon, and we're like, dude, spill the tea, which he did. Where something we share in common is like highly transparent. He was literally running Facebook ads to dairy farmers in Saskatchewan about going after these really cool for-profit grants in Canada, and those things were like printing money. So then I was like, man, we got to bring what you're doing in Canada. They wanted to enter the US market. We know the US market, and we also have an army of grant writers, right? I had 600 grant writers in the community that we could build the biggest grant writing consulting business that ever lived. But we need to decide how to enter because, as you know, there's actually loads and loads and loads and loads of grants. 15% of the US federal budget is grants. So we ended up having 140 people respond within 24 hours for our call for a researcher. We hired 5, which was very hard to do. And we decided, okay, here are the sectors that we would focus on. And at the same time, we planned on rolling out the grant writing portion of the AI software. So all the traffic lights looked green until they didn't. And then they went red, and they went red fast. So 2 things happened. Number 1, they wrote grants for-profit businesses in Canada. And that did not translate well to the nonprofits in the US. And it was going to take a lot more money and a lot more time to repivot the back end of that software to work well for a US market use case. Secondly, some of the founders wanted to focus on building AI grant writing software, not the consulting side anymore. And I just personally didn't want to compete with Instrumental. I believe they're best in class when it comes to grant prospecting, grant management, and then it makes sense to have AI, which is what they're building a program called Apply right now. And then it's all in one home. So I just personally didn't want to become someone that started a software company. So what did that mean? Well, that meant also that Unicorn Copilot was going to be put to rest in peace. And I'll tell you why we did that. This is insight number 1. Turns out you don't need AI software specific for grant writers. Okay, no one can compete with the budgets of Microsoft, Google, Bard, Anthropic, you name it. This is open source software. You can see what the innovators are doing and then they can freaking copy it. I hate to say it, but that's absolutely what's happening. Most people are also very frustrated using AI software because they lack the foundational skills to understand how to use AI effectively. It is also cheaper to use existing tools like $20 to $50 a month for a ChatGPT and Perplexity membership versus software that's charging $90 to $350 plus per month. Obviously, the market just got inundated. Maybe you don't get ads like I do in my feed, but mine was all about just this inundation of people trying to build AI grant writing software. I will give the exception that Grantable's been around for a long time. So they actually were working on this before anybody was even talking about AI. And so they're an exception. But when I was looking to originally collaborate with them, I really didn't like the direction they were taking their product. But I'm telling you guys, if I had $1 for every time I got an email like this, someone asking us for our opinion, and I'm building a grant writing software with AI, and it's like, and they might be great. Like what they're building was a little bit of a different angle, but still, it was like, holy smokes, man. Like everyone's trying to do this, and I don't think any of them are going to win, to be honest, because this is my philosophy. You need to learn how to fish. And this is the beginning of a whole new era, like a decades long new era. Curiosity and early adopters got to have fun in 2022, 2023, and 2024, but 2025, now AI becomes a meaningful, like a mandatory skill that you must have in the workplace. And I will give you the data to back it up. So you might recognize that there is this thing called the AI, or just an innovation adoption curve. We have passed that 20 to 30% mark where basically growth accelerates. We're out of the early adopter phase, meaning that AI utilization is a competitive necessity, not just an option. A McKinsey survey, they study business, found that 78% of organizations are utilizing AI in at least one business function, and that is up from 55% last year, which that is a huge quantum leap in the scheme of changing and adopting technology. I don't love this stat. It's a little bit misleading, but Nonprofit Pro, you get the idea, said only 2% of nonprofits have fully integrated AI. And why I hate that stat is like no one can fully integrate AI. It's changing every day. Like there's no such thing, I think, as like a fully actualized AI system until we are, who even knows. But the tail end of that interests me, which is that not even 50% are in the sterile experimental phase, which to me means there's probably not really a lot of seriousness. Organizations, nonprofits with an annual budget over $1 million are adopting AI tools at twice the rate, 66% versus 34%. And it does not take a rocket scientist to see the downstream impacts of this on small nonprofits in the sector in general. So that's the jumbo jet perspective. So when I review grant narratives, I have this analogy where I got the jumbo jet perspective on like the global landscape, the economic situation. Then we have our regional jets to look at like how is an industry is impacted or a region. And then we have, of course, the bush plane flying only 500 feet overhead. We're a bush flying family. And now we're going to look at the perspective of your career. Number one, you are at the very beginning. The reality is the learning curve is just going to get cheaper or steeper. And so it's so awesome that you're at this point right now to learn this right off the bat. Two, mindset's everything, and you know we're obsessed with improving and optimizing our mindset all the time. The fluency you develop is entirely influenced by your attitude about AI. If you think AI is evil, you just inherently can't be curious and really use it, right? So there is this dissonance that we have to address. Three, you are building lasting skills. This is not about buying some like 20 prompts you need as a grant writer kit. Like, don't buy that crap. We want to be building lasting skills so you understand how to work with AI effectively and get the best results. Number five, I believe AI can be a very interesting budget equalizer. You can build $1 million consulting business with 2 or 3 people at most now. You can be a small nonprofit with a big virtual team because of the AI Bestie support you can provide. Now, this does not replace the human element. I'm going to talk about that in a hot second, and we'll get there. Number six, it's just really fun. And you'll believe if you're using AI, you know what I'm talking about. It's just really nice to not work alone. And once you start unlocking the skills and you really realize like, oh my gosh, this is just a whole new world, it just blows up your mind and it's really, really fulfilling. When I asked the folks that were live if they were ready to go pro, we had yes just blowing up the chat. So I'll assume you're ready to go pro too. All right, so what are the 4 skills you must learn in 2025? One, how to build quality custom GPTs on any platform. Two, how to write quality prompts. Three, how to provide AI with high quality context. And number 4, building automations. If you've built a custom GPT, I'd say probably only a third had done it, and probably most of them were trained by us because we did it earlier. But basically, it's custom instructions, specialized knowledge, and it's got this unique name. It's like a personalized AI, and you can do it in ChatGPT, you can do this in Gemini, you can do it in Claude, you can use it in any tool. The fundamentals are the same. The good news is it's not that hard to build a custom GPT. The bad news is that holy macaroni, it is in the details. So I built Nora Writes, a copywriter, to help me with writing email copy. And I, for example, was like, oh, I got 72 emails. I can just go and like pull those and put them into a Google Doc and then upload that for context and they'll know my voice. Hooray. Did not work because I hadn't formatted with proper headers and subheadings. So the AI could not read that entire document and would only honestly circulate at the top. And it was frustrating. I didn't understand what was going on until I learned more about what is the difference between a decent custom GPT or a downright crappy one and an actually really great one. As a serious grant writer, you got to know how to do this. It's what allows you to build a customized training knowledge set for each client that you have or the nonprofit that you work with. It solves the problem of AI forgetting and just like an endless stream that's disorganized. This is how you dodge paying for expensive AI grant writing software. And of course, you just build your squad of besties. So that's number one. Two, how to write quality prompts. If you're like me and thought prompt engineering sounded intimidating, you're not alone. So, on a high level, prompting is providing instructions. And when you learn how to speak through high quality prompts, high quality instructions, you get better results. I mean, you would never hire someone new and basically say, well, you don't really have a job title because you're just going to kind of float. And I don't know what you're going to do tomorrow, but like just hang tight and then do this without any context. Like that would be a disaster, right? So it's the same thing for our besties. Like they need to understand like what you're asking of them. And why this matters is because AI is not thinking as much as it seems like it is. It is a language prediction model. And so if we give vague and generic prompts, we get vague and generic answers. So my theory on why prompt engineering sounds so hardcore is that you can use structure to really help your prompting be much better and it looks like code. For example, here's an XML tag, role, act like a grant writer, end role, task, example, context, instructions, and that is a much better prompt. This looks intimidating, but really it's just one of many tips I give you, which is about how to use delimiters, like whether you're using markdowns or XML tags, like it's just a little thing, little tweaks about formatting your prompts can make all the difference and formatting your context. So why you want to have an excellent understanding of prompting is that if you've ever been frustrated with the results AI gave you, chances are your prompting could use improvement. So there are 6 components to a good prompt. You've got the role, so define who the AI is. Remember, it's like someone coming to work with you, they want to know what they're doing. What's the task? What's the context they need to be able to do the task well? What's the format? Are we talking like a 2,000 page or a 2,000 word blog? Or are we talking a 1 paragraph response? What are examples? What does good look like? And then instructions. So you don't have to have all 6 of these every single time you write a prompt, but you at least must have the task. And when you build custom GPTs, you actually take care of a lot of this and don't have to repeat yourself. And if there is one thing that I want to teach you, I want it to be that you write stellar prompts because I think it is actually like the biggest game changer for understanding how to get way better results. Number 3, how do you provide your AIs with quality context? So context is background information. And basically, we have to give that again, like you wouldn't hire someone and not like give them any information about the organization or what you need them to do. There's 3 ways to provide it. In prompt, like directly in the chat, you can link a website and it can scan it, or you can upload documents. Now, if you're a grant writer on planet Earth, you probably run into the issue of where you need context, but the organization really doesn't have it yet. Maybe they think they're grant ready, but they're not, or they say they have a budget, but it's totally not done. No logic plan or logic model, no project plan. Like it's just what is a grant writer to do? Cue the grant rep lab. So basically, we have trained Penny, the project manager, on the project planning toolkit process. This is my way of gauging grant readiness. If we can complete that whole toolkit, you're grant ready. And if we can't, we know we've got holes to work on, and it's better to solve those now than later. So what I could do, I'm a little tight on time because I want this to be really short, but I could show you this really quickly. So let's do a new chat. I want to go and work with Penny, the project manager. And I already prepped the prompt. It's short, but essentially I'm going to say, okay, my goal is to create a project planning toolkit. The context is please review the call transcript. So let's say all I've had is a kickoff call with Federwick Farms. And I'm saying the task is write a first draft project planning toolkit in Canvas, following our method, and then enter. And I like to ask it to do the work in Canvas, which is sort of like operating out of a Google Doc right off the bat. It just makes it easier to edit without having to rewrite the entire thing top to bottom. So the beauty of a project planning toolkit is that like this thing can typically take you a long time to prepare. 8-10 hours, you have a call, you're filling this out manually, and now it can be done in literally minutes, though it's feeling like it's really slow right now. So here we are. We've got the organization, project development. What do you want to get funded? What's the problem that you're solving? The project plan is very weak sauce. For example, we're going to go work on that. The measurement of impact, sustainability plan, your team, etc. All this stuff. So what I prefer to do is go and edit in Canvas. And for example, I think the project plan could be much better. So what's lovely is I can highlight over this and just rework this one section. I'm going to ask, can you please rewrite the implementation plan with much more detail? Okay, so I asked it to be really thorough and write the implementation plan in more detail. And this is much better because we're attaching a timeline. So phase one, equipment procurement and retrofit, the infrastructure setup and testing, staffing and SOP development, field deployment, you get it, right? This is obviously, much better. So I can work through each section of this and ask, hey, what would make this, what would make this better? That's like another question I really like to add, like where are we weak and how would you recommend we improve? And we'll see what it comes up with. And then it's really easy to integrate those changes. So you get the idea here. It just allows you to flush this out really, really quickly. I then would take this back to my client or to your nonprofit and say, hey, am I on track? Is this looking correct? And you can immediately pop this out into a Google Doc and you've just got something that literally you just banged out in like a few minutes versus hours and hours that it would take you to write it. So like, for example, we're getting, hey, you have no risk mitigation plan, which is a good point. No clear logic model. I like that. So let's say great suggestions. Let's start by integrating a risk mitigation plan, please. And then it'll add it right into here. So you get the idea, and I just like it's so powerful, saves you loads and loads and loads of time. So while it's doing that, we're going to just carry on. Okay, so that brings us to number 4, which is building AI automations for workflow efficiency. So when we think about this, I want you to think about your AI journey as a 3-step process. You're a weekend warrior playing around. Maybe you think things are still faster if you do it manually, but you're getting enough breakthroughs that it wants to keep, you want to keep going. 2 is when you go pro. So you're like no longer doing boring work daily. Your profit margins are increasing per grant if you're a consultant, or if you're in-house, you're genuinely buying back your time and not overfilling it. And then, of course, Hall of Fame is like you can't imagine your life without AI. You would never go back to that life. You're making investments. You want to really optimize automations now. And that's the final topic we need to talk about. So when people think about AI, they assume automation. They assume taking my job when they don't realize like usually we're talking augmentation where AI is working with you. It's co-writing a proposal, it's helping you with edits, it's summarizing research, it's brainstorming. That is a partner with you as if you had literally a co-employee right next to you. Automation, on the other hand, is automating tasks for you, which usually are things you don't really enjoy doing in the first place. So, for example, you could auto add deadlines to a Google Calendar with reminders of key submission dates. You could auto generate an email draft of action items. Fathom already does this, and it can immediately send out an email summary. Or one of my other favorite things to do is okay, take those those action items that we said we were going to do and auto create tasks in Asana or your project management software of choosing and attach deadlines to it. So it's already there. Like these are the manual project management elements that you're getting to replace with automations. And I don't know about you, but those are not like the joy filled part of being a grant writer. Like I would love to have some help. So hopefully this gets your wheels turning about like what's possible for you in your career. And you can imagine that like in 90 days or less, like, and I'm saying 90 days because really that's where automations gets more complicated. But the first 3 you can do in 30 days. You can master all of these skills and completely change how you're approaching your work. But what I find is that people get really hung up on thinking, well, the nonprofit's not going to need a grant writer anymore if they can fully research and write grants themselves. This is just a threat to the industry. Thinking if I'm only needed to polish what AI generates, then I want to have nothing to do with that. Or it's just like a general overload and you're like, where the heck am I supposed to start? Right. The way I want you to think about this is like, okay, this is a 3-part journey. Part 1 is you got to master the AI fundamentals. You got to understand what is prompting, what is good context, how do I get good results. Okay, got to have that. 2, daily use. And I don't care if you're using it for grant writing every day. Have a prompt at the beginning of the week that's like, hey, my family of 4 likes to eat a Mediterranean diet. Can you please make some meal plan suggestions for the week? And once you decide on the meal plans, then you can give me a grocery list. Boom. Like just using it as you would Google search. Number 3 is you still have to be a great grant writer. So the people that have the fear of like, no one's going to need a grant writer anymore. Look, you don't know if the writing is good or not if you don't know a thing or two about grant writing. Okay. And for example, I wrote this really small grant application for Rural Cat Foundation. It took me about 15 minutes using Winnie the Writer to do it, and that was great. And I knew like the community needs section was kind of weak sauce because the context I gave never had that research done on like census and economic data. So I worked on that, strengthened it, and then we sent that first draft to the program officer asking for feedback. And because they don't want an application with no context, they also want a relationship with you. And the micro nuggets were game changing. We applied for more money than we'd planned. We totally presented the budget differently. And like the little things, like we want to support legacy projects. You're like, oh, bold, underline, legacy, got it. And then we resubmitted and it's just like a far better application. But, Winnie the writer could not have called the program officer. That is what we got to do. So really, we know intimately more than I feel like anybody else does on what AI can and can't do. It's not developing your funding strategy for you. Trust me, we tried. Instrumental is still your BFF in this regard. And yes, you can use it to augment research, but like you can't just say like, go find me grants and expect that to work well. Like critical thinking and the whole process we teach in the funding research funnel is still vital. You can't find new clients this way. Also tried that. Don't rewrite text you already like. It can't talk to a funder. It can't assemble your grant application, though my heavens, I hope it can soon, because that's the most annoying aspect. Dealing with Adobe. Can't request letters of support, but it can be an amazing thought partner. It can develop killer grant skeletons. That's grant writing talk for an outline. It can give you an amazing first draft in record time, automate repetitive workflows, help you with editing. And we all know that like a good editor will make you a better writer, and just develop that deep, deep knowledge of the nonprofits that you're working with. So we took everything we had learned about building AI software ourselves, Chris running his business, working on hundreds of grant applications, and we summarized all of that last fall of 2024, in kind of this AI Bestie 1.0 guide. We said, if you buy this, it'll tell us that you actually want more from us, and we will build a dedicated AI grant writing course. And people did buy it, and a lot. And so it was like, okay, we're going all in. It took us months to take everything we've learned and make AI mastery extremely easy for you so you can go pro in 90 days or less. And truly, our certification process is 5 weeks. Like you can do this quickly. I have never been more passionately convinced of the importance of building your skills using AI than I am now. I personally cannot fathom learning the way Chris had. He did it through thousands of hours, thousands of dollars, lots of toiling, and you don't have to do any of that. You can literally get the fast track to success. So we built the AI Besties grant writing course. The first time I am making available something outside of the collective doors. It is a 6-module course on how to use AI effectively. It's a certification unto itself and can post directly to your LinkedIn certifications. And you get Q&A support underneath the videos, or if you're a member of the collective, you have a dedicated channel. So here's what it looks like. It's going live literally after this. So let's go to continue course. So there's 30 lessons. You watch, I mean, these are pro. We literally went into a studio and made them really good. So all the links that you could possibly need. You watch these videos. When you're complete, click through them. You're going to first learn how to build your own custom GPT so you have a writing partner right off the bat. First win. 2, then we're learning all about prompting, because that's, to me, like the most important thing that you can do. So 6-step prompting guide is really robust. The 5 most common prompts a grant writer needs, 7 hot best practices, which are really like the difference between good to great prompting, etc. Then we get into AI research mastery. So this over here is about like how to actually augment my research. So it's not like making up data, and we have really good citations, because research can take forever. It could be, and all you want is even just like that one sentence. And now that can be much faster with Riley, the researcher. And then we have the grant prep lab. This is when we work with Penny, the project manager. And Penny is there to help with allowing us to like get the project planning done earlier, because a lot of times you just get saddled with things that you're really not paid for, because people think grant writing is just the grant writing, and we all know it's not. And then finally is writing like a unicorn, which you probably thought we'd cover first, but that's everything from how to create your own editor in chief or use ours, Ellie the editor. And then you've got how to build a narrative skeleton for a federal grant. And all of this is just like very, very robust. And it's not showing up yet, but there'll be a final quiz. So that's what it looks like in the back end, super, super tight, so you can get results really quickly. All right, so you got to lock in, because this is the part that gets a little bit confusing. If you're a unicorn in the collective, you get this for $425 until Friday. You've got an email. It's going to be just sent to you as soon as I'm done recording this. If you're not a member of the Grant Writing Collective, you can still get this course, and you don't have to be a member. It is available to you for $960 until Wednesday, April 9th, end of National Unicorn Day. There's that unicorn code. It'll be also in an email to you. If you bought AI Bestie 1.0 and you supported us in building this, you need to be also in your email, because you're getting a much heftier discount code accounting for the fact that you've already made an investment here. Now, what if you want to be a unicorn and take the AI grant writing course? So how we all work, like the quick Reader's Digest version, is the coursework involves different curriculum paths based on your goals. If you're an in-house nonprofit grant writer and you don't want to freelance, then you don't need that info. If you're an aspiring freelancer and you've never touched grants before, you need a different path. Or if you're an existing consultant and you want to scale from 100K to 250K and 500K and beyond, That's a different path, right? So you will be set up with what information you need. Second is community. This is where I do wish you can see the chat because they blew it up live, which is like how amazing we are online and in real life. And finally, there's coaching. So you got 6 coaches, twice monthly coaching calls. I still lead lots of those. We've got a certification process. It's very, very robust. Now, I don't want to overwhelm you with course, community, coaching, all of that, but you do need to understand there is so much more under the hood than meets the eye. For example, I will write you a letter of recommendation or a referral for you, and I have a 100% success rate of people that I have been a reference for getting a job. We've got retreats. We're going to do one in Bend, Oregon. That's going to be happening next spring. You're going to want to be there for that. And there's so many more things that are happening behind the scenes. But bottom line, we're obsessed with your success. The price of the collective is $500 per month for 12 months. Our goal is to serve you for 3 years like a graduate program. Because let me tell you, it is a multi-year journey to get to the complete self-actualization of a crazy profitable, crazy thriving business. Our promise to you is that we'll get you certified within 45 days. You need 3 to 5 hours per week to build momentum, and you have all the tools and the resources in the world to get your money back 10x from what you're putting in. But because it's National Unicorn Week, you get it 10% off. This is the only time ever give a discount. I don't even really like to do it because it's worth every penny, and you can lock in basically $450 per month for 10% forever. And you can also lock in buying that AI grant writing course for the next several months. If you're a new grant writer and it's a little too soon for you, I'm okay with you waiting to access that. That expires literally midnight, April 9th, Alaska time. So that's to your benefit if you're going to stay up at 3 in the morning. Use discount code NUDE2025, and I'll have all these links below. If you need to go find some independent reviews, go watch our YouTube Unicorn Spotlights, go onto Google Reviews. We've got tons right now. There's like 80 reviews in there that have just come in the last couple weeks. And you can see like really what this whole scheme is about. Take a screenshot if you want to read these. If you're thinking I cannot possibly afford that, I have to counter that and say, no, how can you not? There is no better investment in your earning potential than investing in your skills. This is an MBA level program for 1/10 the cost. Peggy here, I took the screenshot from when she joined. I didn't necessarily believe 6K was a bargain for this course, so that Learn Grant Writing could be charging tens of thousands for it. Now I do. And as my mama would say, that's who's pictured here, no one can take your education away from you. These are skills that you get to keep with you and take, and like, I just cannot emphasize how important it is for you to continue to up level, especially now. If you join the collective by April 9th and attend our annual vision board workshop, it's very fun. It's incredible. Like I'm looking at my vision board behind you right now and it's ready for a touch up. We also just brainstormed a bonus, whether I'm flying you to New York City for a day or a free ticket to the grant writing retreat or 5 to 7 nights at the Hangar House. I can't remember which one won. So we'll have to see if that'll be included as like a raffle for joining. Bottom line, bet on you. We will not let you fail. Like we're obsessed with your success. I just need you to lean in first. And most importantly, what are we doing this for? So that we can win money for the organizations that need it, especially in this economic climate that we're in. If you've got questions, we're going to be doing, I'm opening up my calendar tomorrow and Wednesday, so it's Rose. So you can get that in the email, book a call with us if you want to ask us one-on-one questions, send an email, you name it, we'll get the questions answered. Otherwise, I'll see you in the collective, right? Or in AI Bestie course. Okay, that's it. And I got to bounce because self-care is a core value. And I just signed up for my first ever, like a gym fitness class. I want to go see if I like it. Okay, that's it. And I'll talk to you later.